Good morning, Beacon. So nice to be here with you all today in person as well as our friends online. For those of you who might benefit from a physical description, well, first of all, my name is Missy Rogers, and I am your worship associate today. And I just ran up the stairs from Fellowship Hall because I realized it was time, so I'm a little out of breath. I am a white woman with shoulder-length salt and pepper hair, wearing glasses, and a very brightly colored floral top today. Welcome all to this place of love and justice. This place where we attempt to live up to humanity's highest ideals, highest hopes. Do we fail? Yes, we do, often. Do we try again? Yes, we do, always. Because we are people looking out for each other, all others, and the planet. Welcome all to this place of love and justice, to this gathering where the sacred and the holy are our being together.
Good morning, Beacon.
Good morning.
My name is Jermaine Kripe. I am your lifespan coordinator, and it is my honor to help light the chalice this morning as we begin our time together. Before we light the chalice, I wanted to make one quick announcement. In case you were unaware, our annual fundraiser, Harvest Delight, is coming up on November the 1st. And so if you could look for me down in Fellowship Hall, I will have the sign up where you can contribute either items or services in your household. I have a sample of last year's catalog so you can have an idea of what people offer and how you can support Beacon with the contributions. And also ticket sales. We're still trying to get that website set up. It's not a very simple system, but we are trying our best to get it going. And until we do, if you want to purchase your tickets, I'll make it possible for you downstairs. For those people who are online, I am an plus-size African-American woman wearing a black and white dress and green shoes, because I like my green shoes.
Come on, girl.
I'll be wearing them a lot this year. Could I get a volunteer to help me light the chalice this morning? Come on up. We love it when we have volunteers, and I'm going to actually light this for you, because I think if you try to light the match while holding baby.
I'm his assistant.
Right, here we go. It's perfect. Come on, baby, light my fire.
Always leave it to Shay to steal the thunder. So we light this chalice this morning, this flame to unite our differences in the background and in belief. We unite with gratitude and hope. I love you. A hope for a world of differences, a hope for a world that honors differences. We unite in community with gratitude for our differences.
Good morning, my name is Misa Iwama. I'm the Director of Music Ministry, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. We have John O'Neill on piano, we have Benny Kunievsky on drums, and we have the Beacon Choir, who are now identified by wearing a rainbow stole. Thank you, Kathy Menendez, for hand making them for us. The first song we're going to sing is called Call Down a Blessing, and I think you'll just be able to pick it up as we go along. It goes like this. Call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. I'm gonna try. Call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down a blessing, call down. Joy before us, joy behind us, joy within us and around. All right, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit because now we're going to sing Gathered Here. Now that is number 389, and it's a round. So we're going to sing it all in unison once through, and then we'll do it in parts. So I'm going to have any choir members that want to come and join me and help distinguish between the parts. Does anyone else want to come up here? Okay, thank you. So what we'll do is we'll sing it all together once, and then this side of the room will start, and then this side of the room will come in a few measures later. So let's just try from the beginning. It goes, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, spirits draw near. I think we should all do unison again. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, spirits draw near. This side. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, spirits draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, spirits draw near. Spirits draw near with a spirit. Spirits draw near. Thank you.
Good morning. I know it's still a little early for some of us. I just had my coffee. My coffee just kicked in, actually. So join me in that. Good morning. All right. So I am Reverend Jay. I'm the assistant minister here at Beacon. My pronouns are they and them. And for those who need it, and for the visual description, I will say I am wearing a tan hat. I am brown skin. I am travel size. And I'm wearing a brown shirt that says God is not homophobic. And come on, right? That's what it is. And I'm excited to be here today, and I'm excited to share with you our time for all ages. So I know I've got some young folk up in here, and I'm going to do the story from here, though. And if we can just kind of take our minds to a place of this wonderful place that we come every Sunday to make a public declaration. To come and celebrate your religious freedom is a public declaration. And no matter where you are, no matter how you come, no matter what rests upon you, I want to read this, which is called A Church for All by Gail Pittman. Sunday waking day is breaking. Let's go to our church for all. Church bells ringing, joyful noises, choirs singing, laughing voices, candles glowing and banners flowing. Come enter our church for all. Weak and wealthy, neat and messy, poor and wealthy, plain and dressy, all embracing spirit, gracing one another at our church for all. Bodies jiggling, mommies reading, children giggling, daddies pleading, toddlers falling, and babies wailing. There's room at our church for all. Hands receiving, hands connecting, hearts believing, hearts accepting. Feel the Spirit? Can you hear it? It's here. It's here, Beacon, at our church for all. Thank you.
Good morning, Beacon. I won't make you yell it twice, it's okay. My name is Adam Goderman, and I'm glad to be serving as today's Beacon chaplain. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a middle-aged white man wearing blue jeans and a light blue shirt, sort of checkered blue shirt. I was going to be wearing a blue jacket, but it's a little bit warm in here, so I'm going to skip that. You'll notice me and any of our chaplains by the maroon stole that we wear as a sign of our role in the community. Chaplains are lay leaders who have received special training to walk alongside people in both difficult and meaningful moments. We're here to listen, to offer care, and to be present when life feels heavy. Just as importantly, we're here to celebrate your joys and milestones with you. Our support isn't limited to Sunday mornings either. Please know you can reach out to us anytime for conversation. If you'd like to connect with me or another chaplain, you're welcome to approach us here after the service. Just be me right now, so just me after the service. We're also available for one-on-one talks by phone or in person, and you can learn more about our chaplaincy program on the Beacon website. Everything shared with us is held in confidence. We're committed to providing a safe, non-judgmental space. One way we nurture our collective spirit each week is through the candlelighting ritual. With these candles, we make space for both our struggles and our hopes. We light a candle for Victoria Germano, Terry Polachek's sister, who is recovering from a serious surgery. We light a candle for Lux's mother, Mrs. Indumati Sarma, as she faces surgery after a heart attack, and for Lux's safety and travels during this time of emergency. We light a candle for Sharon McKenna, who's dealing with some very serious health issues. We light a candle for places torn by violence and conflict, that compassion and peace may grow where hatred and division now take root. We light a candle for those who grieve, wishing them comfort and healing. And we light a candle for this community at Beacon, this community here, that together we continue to grow in kindness, understanding, and service. We invite you to join this ritual, whether here in our sanctuary or in your own space, by lighting a candle of your own, a symbol of hope, solidarity, and care for one another.
just a little while longer. Hold on, just a little while longer. Everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. Fight on, just a little while longer. Fight on, just a little while longer. Fight on, just a little while longer. Everything will be all right. Everything will be all right. Sing on, just a little while longer. Sing on, just a little while longer. Sing on, just a little while longer. Everything will be all right. Everything will be all right.
I want to offer you today a quick reflective sermonette, if you will. I'm pulling back on my Pentecostalism for a few seconds. I'm going to be actually sharing a piece that I wrote called Come On to Church, James. It is about James Baldwin. And these are actually, it's a poem and a conversation that pulls from the text, Fire Next Time. And if you read the letter, he's actually written this letter to his nephew, who is named after him. And I do my job here to kind of exegete, I'll use that fancy word, fancy interpretation, to point out some of the experience of James as a little black gay boy not wanting to go to church. James, Jimmy, boy, get up now. It's time to go to church. It's time to go to church. Put on that robe I gave you. It's time for you to tell your story. It's time for you to preach. James, Jimmy, get up. It's time. Bring your hand pots down them stairs right now. You know the Lord has a word for you this morning. Little did my father know that I really wasn't interested in going to church anymore in my later years as a teenager. My father is dark, vulnerable, and moody, a very moody man, religiously tied to the church, more particularly his holiness. He had defended it all of his life, and he died because of it. And at the bottom of his heart, I would say he became so holy. You know, I wasn't interested after a while. I was born and had to face the reality that there was no future. To go to church was one thing, but to go outside my house and face the racial injustice was another. There was no reason for my accounts that I could say. No reason for me to go and put on a robe. It was all a gimmick. I talk about it often. It was a gimmick that started the journey where I would realize it just wasn't for me. I could preach in the pulpit, preach down the hall. It just didn't feel right, considering all of the injustice that I had seen. For me, if God had any validity at all, if the concept of God had any validity at all, it should make us more freeing, more larger, and more loving. But if God can't do that, it was time to get rid of him and time to get rid of the church. That I know for sure was the reason I couldn't preach that Sunday.
We're going to sing from the hymnal, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire, and that is number 34. I invite you to rise in body or spirit. So that we can sing together. 34. Though I may speak with bravest fire, and that the gift to all inspire, and have not love, my words are vain, a sounding brass and hopeless gain. Though I may give all I possess, and striving so my love profess, but not begin by love within, the prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control, our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are free.
So Jermaine mentioned earlier about Harvest Delight, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about my experiences with Harvest Delight. You've probably started seeing some notices in our weekly digital newsletter, Neon, about Harvest Delight, which is taking place this year on Saturday, November 1st. Many UU congregations hold annual services auctions as a fundraising event, including the one that I belonged to in California before I moved to New Jersey. In case you're unfamiliar with the concept, a services auction primarily offers up events and group meals to promote relationship building while raising money to fund the congregation's mission. Often professionals offer up their time and skills, and artists, craftspeople will offer up some of their things. And let us not forget the jam makers and the cookie bakers. There is truly and usually more than one something to fit everyone's tastes, interests, and hobbies, and budgets. The first year of being a regular here at Beacon, I did not attend the event because I had limited funds and felt I couldn't participate. Really an unfounded fear, but I assure you that over the last several years, we have been very intentional with organizing the offerings to include items at every price level, so no one needs to have the same worry I had back in 2017. Over these last several years, I've participated in many activities I've purchased at the auction, and they have enhanced my relationship with folks in the Beacon community. The last 2 years, have actually hosted a patio party, which is just a very casual finger food and some drinks, sitting out on the patio and just talking and getting to know each other. And there are some people in this room today that I've gotten to know better on that June event. I also find that anything that I purchase homemade always tastes better than store-bought. In addition, it is wonderful to know that even though I benefit from these things, Beacon benefits as well. We also plan a kickoff event that in and of itself is a great time. Good food, good social time together, and fun for the whole family. My favorite part of the event is seeing all of us together and being reminded that our community consists of all ages, many interests and hobbies, social butterflies and wallflowers, bound together by our shared values. And like last year, come in costume if you like. Get an extra wearing out of that Halloween costume, or pull out an old 80s outfit that you haven't been able to let go of, or put a feather in your hat. And of course I look at Jay because I'm pretty sure he has plenty of feathers and plenty of hats. Anything fun, outrageous, or spirited will add to the festivities. It takes all of us to make the vision a reality. It takes folks making donations, folks volunteering time to help at the kickoff event, and everyone buying their tickets and coming on November 1st. So please save the date on your calendar, keep your eyes open for announcements, and click on those links for donations and ticket purchases. And of course, you can see Jermaine downstairs at coffee hour afterward to get started. I'm looking forward to seeing you all that night. And if you can't attend in person, most bidding will be online, so you will not miss out. And now, our morning offering will be gratefully received.
All right, while the choir is getting into place, I'm going to make a few announcements. One is that today we have Monday choir. And as it says on this fun sign, lunch and lyrics provided. So I hope that you'll consider staying. It's at 12:30 to 2 o'clock. Well, we're going to begin with lunch. I think we're going to talk a little bit about how we've been spending our summers. One of us was in a Broadway show and playing every day. We'll hear a little about that experience and learn some new music and also revisit some older music. I think it'll just be a really fun way to spend an hour and a half. As Missy said, building community and making connections. And the second announcement is that this next piece we're going to do is called Draw the Circle Wide. It is by composer Mark Miller. And the reason I'm holding up this beautiful sign by Helen Kerr is that Mark himself will be doing a concert here at Beacon on October 26th at 3 o'clock. So I hope that you will consider coming to that concert because it will be amazing to see and hear and feel his absolute musical genius. All right, here's Draw the Circle Wide, and thank you, choir, for being here and singing and leading with us.
Draw the circle wide.
Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle wide. Me? All right.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. We're on.
Nope.
This is on. 2 2.
There we go. All right. Testing 1 2 here. We good? All right. Well, here's the second portion. Ready? Well, I am honored and truly grateful. Really quickly, in summary, if you don't know, this topic today is called Pride in the Pew. It's actually named after a grant that Fountain Baptist had received. As a result of that grant is focused on supporting churches, particularly black churches, around the affirming and activist work for LGBTQ folk. And so Fountain called me as a partner in crime, if you will, because of course there's a crime against humanity, and actually, you know, had a conversation with Reverend Robin and I and said, hey, what can we do? And so I partnered with them in working on what's called Liberation Labs. And these Liberation Labs were educational spaces for both leadership and the congregants. And so today we get a kind of an inside look on that journey. And I want to point out that today is also a practice. It is a practice. It is not perfect. It is also a learning. It is also a moment where we can actually comfortably make mistakes in this space. Can I hold that with this community? Okay, because not everybody comes. No, I know some of y'all messed up on my pronouns before too. Okay? So I want to love on you, and we're going to love on them in the same way. So I just want to bring that to the forefront. I'm joined today with actually Summit's best. My family, this is Dr. I'm sorry, I just learned this just the last service, that you are Reverend Doctor. You should have corrected me. Honey. The Reverend Dr. Angelita Clifton, y'all. Yeah. When black women get empowered, come on, yeah. And of course, dear friend, and y'all probably know him better than I do, and I know Robin does, but the Reverend Vernon Williams of Fountain Baptist. We've had a few questions. We probably go a little deeper, but I want to give you the opportunity to really talk about what inspired the grant and what is kind of the opportunities that came out of that.
So first I want to give my visual description. So I am a light-skinned African-American woman, heterosexual, vertically challenged.
Come on, vertically challenged.
But still loving heart, loving smile.
Good afternoon to everyone, or good morning. I'm Reverend Vernon Williams. I am the assistant pastor at Fountain Baptist Church. I am milk chocolate.
Come on, milk chocolate.
Black shirt, brown and black checkered pants, and medium size.
Can I just say, that just made my day. If y'all didn't hear the array of color that was just in the room. Yes.
So just do, I'm old.
Mm-hmm.
Restate the
So
question.
yeah, no. What inspired the grant, and why the response now with the Baptist, with particularly Fountain Baptist?
Okay, so if you weren't with us earlier, I explained that earlier in the year we had some global theology labs, and they were opportunities for us to challenge some hot topics, to have an opportunity to think concretely about what it is we believe and why. And one of the topics that we discussed was gender identity / sexuality, and there was a lot of compassionate concern, curiosity around the topic. And so when my pastor was asking, well, how do you think things went? I explained to him I thought that things went well, but there was one space where there was a lot of curiosity. People wanted to know more. People were compassionately concerned about what they didn't know. And so as a result of that, his response was to, in his travels, he heard about the grant with Pride in the Pews, and he touched base with me about submitting the grant on behalf of Fountain Baptist Church, which I most certainly agreed to do. And we were blessed and received the grant. And what it does is it affords us a space where we can come together and have concrete conversations about things that matter. One of the things that we discovered early on, thanks to Dr. J and Reverend Williams, we realized that before we brought it before the congregation, we really needed to take time and have the leadership, ministerial leadership, have time to think about what it is they believe and why they believe it, so that when we come together and have conversation, we'll all be in a place where we've had a chance to think about this thing. So that's kind of how we got our start. Our pastor has been doing some Bible studies, which Dr. J has been a part of. We've had some other expert guests come and be a part of those conversations, and it's given us a chance to really dissect the Bible passages that are used to discriminate. And it's given us an opportunity to really take a look at them and figure out, does it really say what we've been saying it says, or is this something we've added to it? And so as a result of that, we have been blessed to begin to really deconstruct some of the things we've always known, so that we might begin to reconstruct fresh perspectives with regard to the topic. So that's kind of how and why we're doing this in this moment.
Look, that's the summary. Actually, you get to hold the mic this time. I'm Madonna'd up today. So I think that, one of the things that was really remarkable is the fact that we did do the Bible study. And, one of the most unique things about coming into a tradition that I am culturally from, I have to be very aware of how I move in that space. And I think it's very important, but it's also because I delight in the sacred text, but I also have to be mindful of what challenges are there, right, when engaging our communities, particularly Black community, because we are contextually scripted. That we are scripted. So it really is an embodied experience. The biblical text is an embodied experience. So when it is given from a very flat place. I think I want to go here because I felt like we were going here for the last time, but I wanted to know, what parts did you feel possibly have to die out within these theologies, these biblical teachings? What needs to die out, and what do you believe can rise?
So I'll start out, and then I'm going to pass it to Reverend Williams. I would just say that each and every one of us have a confirmation bias that's embedded inside of us, right? It's how we've been socialized and conditioned to think about certain things, and as a result of that, oftentimes that Sunday school theology that we received when we were younger and is our default system, oftentimes will cause us to make rash decisions about things without really thinking about them. So I think that in order for us to move forward, not only individually for me to move forward, but as a congregation to move forward, we really have to take a good look at what it is we believe and why. And we really have to go back to the scripture and figure out, is it saying what we think or what we've always been taught that it said, or is there something else there? What was going on in the context, community, culture, and the customs of the time, and how does that translate today? And so I think what has to die is our confirmation bias. What needs to live is our curiosity, our compassionate curiosity.
Where's my tambourine?
I do appreciate the two of them inviting me on the stage, because they have been working on this for quite some time, and I'm the new kid on the block. So maybe a month or so that I've been working with them, but I think perhaps what needs to die is this notion that we know it all. Even as I, talk that I know what the scriptures say, instead of saying, I'm not sure what the scriptures really say. And as Reverend Clifton says, the curiosity is to be open and say, I don't know what it's talking about. That makes sense to me right now. And to be open to new interpretation. One of the things I love about, my Jewish brothers and sisters is that, they have this midrash, and they can get new interpretation. And, as Baptists, we are, this is what it says, this is what it shall be forever. And, that's stagnant, that's no growth, and you get zombies walking around, basically.
Come on.
And so one of the things that our new pastor has embarked upon as a thing for us as a congregation, and that is be love. And I don't think that we can be love in that stagnant place of allowing our congregation to see others as other.
Yeah.
And not seeing them as in their humanity.
Yeah.
And not just being able to put up with them.
Come on.
But actually to be able to say, you can come and be who you are.
Yeah.
And I think that a new and fresh look at the scriptures is what we've got to continuously be on this journey and be about.
You bring up a beautiful way of talking. I love this framing around fresh way of looking. This can oftentimes be challenging. I knew when I started seminary, I still was deeply rooted in Pentecostal upbringing, biblical teaching, and so by the time I got to seminary and then began to apply the lens of social justice, that was different. Never. Justice as a form of faith? What do you mean? Even though the text, it was like clearly right there, spiritual formation was more important than taking the text and flipping it. Now, I don't want to be so social justice that I know spiritual good, but I also don't want to be so spiritual that I know justice good, right? And there was no balance. And I find that to be sometimes our tension in some of our spaces, that we are real justice good, but we have the real spirit, if you will, if I may define for some of us, I myself as a humanist, I like to identify the spirit as the site of affection, right? And so there's this real emotional capacity that comes in, and it's not just an act of service, right? Which is where justice comes in a lot of the times in a lot of the liberal spaces that we end up working in. Because we're like, well, I want to serve, but I don't really feel it from you that you genuinely want to serve. It's always a questionable thing. And so we put markers on our doors, or maybe, like we'll put a sign up, we're LGBTQ friendly. But the real warmth of hospitality, radical hospitality is oftentimes missing. I think about this, and I go as far as to think about our next question, which is, I want to say first, thank you for welcoming me into the space, because I really thought they were going to get rid of me the first day, y'all. I really did. And I guess, the thought is like, y'all could have had Reverend Robin, because y'all are familiar with her legacy here. And for me to kind of be like you, the new kid on the block, I was very reluctant. And I guess along came Jay is kind of how I start with this question. But like, what about the quality of ministry was helpful along our journey in trying to create these liberation labs for both leadership and the congregation?
So I'll just start. I'll say that one of the things, there's a great book, The Sin of Certainty, and it talks about, when you're so certain about things that there's no space for you to explore or examine or question, be curious about things. And what I love about what Dr. J does is that he affords us the opportunity through a very creative, consistent, kind of a way to help us really challenge those certainties that are in our mind, those things that we know, that we know, that we know, even if it's not what the Bible is saying. So we've been blessed to have him participate and give us strong guidance and consultation about how to make these things fun, make it about fellowship, make it about further growing and learning. And so his style is unique in a number of different ways. And I think that it has blessed us immensely because we recognize that even though it's a hard topic, the discussion doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
Right? The discussion can be fun and lighthearted. You can actually grow and be stretched without feeling like you're pulled apart. And that's a blessing in so many different ways. And then his commitment to social justice, biblical justice, his understanding of the intersectionality of the issue, all of those things just help to further advance us as we try, keyword try, to move forward.
I think, give me that one more time because I was listening to both of you guys.
Along came I.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Right.
And what quality of ministry comes up?
Ministry.
Yeah, the qualities of ministry that kind of came up for y'all that served you.
I think the quality of ministry that came up, certainly for me, in what we probably, one of the things is wanting to get through to our people, and that is the quality of connection. That quality of, Dr. King talking about our mutuality.
Yeah.
Tied up in one garment. Mm-hmm. And if we don't connect and we don't become relational to one another, then it's easy to otherize. Mm-hmm. And then it's easy to believe that the scriptures say this about you. Unless you actually begin to get close enough to touch one another. And so I think the quality of the ministry of touch, if you will, is I think what really does it, because in my younger years as as an engineer, I didn't have any real connection, if you will, to someone who was homosexual, gay, or what have you, but it wasn't. I'm from Missouri. And so I was, okay.
Come on.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about that. In working here, in working in Georgia, I connected with this young lady, and she was gay. And I'm thinking, well, nothing happened to me.
Yeah.
And she's a good person. Not like I don't know what I expected.
Right.
But we struck up this great friendship, and it began to to really challenge my thinking of what I'm taught, and to be able to say I'm not so sure I agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that's harsh and that's ugly.
I think there's a lot of people in the pew. Right? They have the text and they see what the text says, but when they're at work, when it comes to sometimes their family members, they are still having family reunions, with the two who are like and they're like, I don't know what's going on over there, but I know it's interesting. They don't have language for it, but that's, I think you hit the nail on the head.
And because it was our panel that we had on that Monday night, and just to see the reaction of some folks who had never really quite been challenged to that degree, but to be able to say, yeah, you literally are just like me. I'm not sure what we really thought. Why,
Yeah.
But it begins to make the transformation easier. Mm-hmm. That says, perhaps I don't have this right. Perhaps I shouldn't be as certain about what I believe that, if you will, God is really saying.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So for me, that quality of connection, of touch, of getting to know one another. In our context, Jesus. I mean, for us, that's what Jesus did. Mm-hmm. I mean, for those who were not of the spiritual, is that he came and contacted, he connected with those who were considered outsiders.
Yes.
And then it changed some views of some folks.
It did.
That maybe it's okay.
Yeah.
In fact, that is okay.
I think too. I want to piggyback off a little bit of what you're saying with touch, because I make it very clear. I'm always very fascinated at some of our congregations. They focus heavily on being intentional congregations. I think intentional congregations are great, but I always look forward to the day that we become a sensorial congregation, which is a term that I use from Montessori teaching. When I was a Montessori teacher, we talk about sensorial, right? And that's to be in touch, to use your senses, right? That's how that connection is built. That's how intersectionality works. It works because you get in touch. It doesn't work because I'm just intentional, because what happens is it actually creates stronger impact because you develop relationship and you fortify fellowship. So then you have not only a body of fellowship, but then a body of work, collaborative effort. I want to ask this last question. I know we got to get ready to close up, but I want to really ask, as we think about this fellowship between Beacon and Summit, I see a huge relationship. I see where areas where the theology of, and I'm going to be very general here, but much of the theology in Black church has to die as a result of white supremacy, Christianized culture. Can I call it that? Right? This Christian nationalist view that has often gotten into, because of it was given to us from a Western lens, right? And then we jazzed it up, made it pretty, because it's got some good music. I can't reject gospel, and I can't reject good preaching. So that's why it's beautiful, right? Otherwise, I'd be, singing some stale song and, holding a hymnal all the days of my life. And then we also have spaces that are white liberal traditions that often I see as, in some of my writing, if you're familiar from the UU World that I published, which was around white flight theology, that we left Christianity to come all the way over here, and as a result, we don't see cultural shifts. We don't see certain folk in the room. And so we've got one group that is still stuck in a kind of a white supremacy doctrine, trying to filter through it to love each other, right? And then you've got another tradition that in some way has intellectualized itself into a spirituality that actually has distanced itself from, and now it's constantly in service, right? How do you see the work of Beacon and Fountain helping you achieve and helping us achieve a work of real inclusive, not only community, but society and Summit?
So, wow.
That's a teaching in itself. We can do that on our adult education classes.
So I think it's important for us to recognize that we are two congregations that are probably trying to grow as best we can to live and be more like the Creator. And so as a result of that, I see our partnership of coming together as a real wonderful opportunity for us to come together and to grow, for us to learn from one another, and for us to create spaces that are safe, that are sacred, that allow for people to have serious reflection about what God is calling them to. Like, I do not, there's a saying that says that the oppressor doesn't have to do anything to you once they have captured your mind, right? And so as a result of that, I want to be free. I want to be free of oppression. I don't want to be oppressed, and I don't want to oppress anyone else. And so in order for us to get into that space, to change the climate here and globally, I think we really have to do some inner work, and that's hard work. And it takes time, but I think we are committed. I believe that we trust that God will do exactly what God says God will do, which is to help us live more full, abundant lives. And I think in order for each and every one of us to do that, we have to have a good sense of our world and all of the different aspects in our world. And I think at this moment, Fountain finds themselves in a place where they are not as clear as they should be about what the Bible says and what that means for us as individuals. And so I'm hoping that our partnership will help us come to a space where we can take a good look at the Bible, kind of see what it's saying, and how does that impact me as I move forward? How does that help me to shape my thoughts and my thinking and my behavior as I move forward around some of these issues that are important?
I think that perhaps, Fountain and Beacon, as we work to do more fellowship, become more relational, and to work to disrupt one another.
Nah.
I mean, as a loving congregation to us, and we a loving congregation to you, is to, okay, Fountain, you know what? You all didn't do this. And Fountain be okay, Beacon, you all didn't do this. We do that. It's a back and forth. This is how we eventually become one. As we talk about drawing the circle wide, is to have that we are a safe space in and unto ourselves.
My mind.
Where we can be frank with one another, but be loving with one another. And if I love you, I still have to tell you the hard truth.
Sir.
But I know how. But lovingly, I know how to do that, and to know that you may cuss me out, you may get mad at me, but lovingly, because I know you love me and I love you, you're gonna come back. Yeah. Because I'm not going to abuse you. And that's where we've got to get as congregations, that we can do that for one another. That says, what, we have this loving relationship, and that's how all of our relationships have got to be. If I know how to lovingly, and even as I say lovingly, I'm going to, as you start hearing, I'm going to make mistakes. Yeah. Yeah. But if you know where my heart is, yes. You can forgive me and I can forgive you, and we both grow together. And that relationship grows stronger. That says, listen, so city, if you come after Beacon, you're gonna have to deal with Fountain. Right. And Beacon has to say, if you come after Fountain, come on, you're gonna have to deal with Beacon. And so that's where where we have to get, as a people, that says you can't do my brother or sister like that. And so I think that's where we have to go with for one another.
As I first said, the first time we had our big meeting together, I remember the first time we were getting ready to have our real talk, and I said, before I broke off a real big piece, and I kind of broke off my foot in there, and I wasn't trying to. That's why I said I was gonna get fired. But I will say, I did read y'all, but I said, I owe you nothing but to love you. And ever since then, it has been that kind of relationship, owing them nothing but to love them. They owed me nothing but to love me. So I thank y'all so much for loving me enough. Can I get Beacon to say amen? Amen. All right.
Thank you so much, Dr. Angelita Clifton and Reverend Vernon Williams and Reverend J. Exodus Hooper. Thank you. And I want to also say thank you to our choir for being here and raising our spirits, and Benny and John. And I invite you all to rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, which is number 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Come Thou Fount of every blessing, tune our hearts to sing thy grace, streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise, while the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joy and love. Teach us ever to be faithful
Quickly grab somebody's hand. Quickly grab somebody's hand as we close out. I want to give you these words from Gwendolyn Brooks as she says, we are each other's harvest. We are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. And just as our Reverend said, if you mess with Beacon, you gonna mess with Fountain. If you gonna mess with Fountain, you gonna mess with Beacon. We love you. Have a great one.